All right, so let's start with some addition. We'll just do a few addition. We'll do some +2. Those were the new facts that you had on the work page yesterday. Was everyone able to complete their work page with the +2 facts? That was lesson worksheet 61. Yeah? No? Yeah.
Did we do that page in class? She said, yeah.
You can unmute your screen so that I can hear you say the answers to the facts.
You don't have to raise your hand.
You remember what I said before we started? All right, so 2 plus 10. So 2 plus 10 equals 12, 12, 12. 7 plus 2 equals 9. 9. So always count as 7, then 2 more. 9, 9, 9. 2 plus 2 equals 4, 4, 4. 6 plus 2 equals 8, 8, 8. 4 plus 2 equals 6, 6, 6. 10 plus 2 equals 12. Twin facts, same facts, just different order. 2 plus 8 equals 10. 10. 0 plus 2 equals 2. 2, 2. 5 plus 2 equals 7. 3 plus 2 equals 5, 5, 5. 2 plus 5 equals 7, 7, 7. 2 plus 7 equals 9, 9. 3 plus 3 equals 6, 6. Thank you for those saying the facts. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 8 plus 8 equals
16, 16, 16.
9 plus 9 equals 18, 18, 18. 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2, 2. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 8 plus 2 equals 10, 10, 10. 2 plus 6 equals 8, 8, 8. 5 plus 5 equals 10, 10, 10. 4 plus 4 equals 8, 8, 8. 9 plus 2 equals 11, 11, 11. Oh, sorry. 2 plus 9 equals
11.
and 2 plus 3 equals
5, 5, 5.
awesome. So we did most of those 2 plus 2 facts in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our subtraction facts. So these are subtraction means we take away, we are losing. Okay, we're not adding to, we're losing. Okay, so anything minus 0 is always the number. Very easy. 2 minus 0 equals 2. 2. 9 minus 1 equals
8. 8. 8 minus 1 equals 7. 7. 7. 7 minus
7
0
minus
equals
0
7.
equals
7.
7.
7.
5
5 minus 1 equals
4.
4.
10
10
minus
minus
0
0
equals
equals
10. 10. 10.
10.
2 minus 1 equals 1, 1, 1. 4 minus 1 equals 3, 3, 3. 4 minus 0 equals 4, 4, 4. 6 minus 0 equals 6, 6, 6. 6 minus 1 equals 5, 5, 5. 1 minus 1 equals 0, 0, 0. 5 minus 0 equals 5, 5, 5. 1 minus 0 equals 1, 1, 1. 9 minus 0 equals 9, 9, 9. 8 minus 0 equals 8, 8, 8. 3 minus 0 equals 3, 3, 3. 10 minus 1 equals 9, 9, 9. 7 minus 1 equals 6, 6, 6. And 3 minus 1 equals 2. Awesome. Thank you so much. Good job. For those who said the facts. Thank you. All right. Only one. So that's 2 for you after we're finished. So you can get it out so that I can put it. All right, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and do a couple of things on the board. Today is mainly a review. We don't have a new lesson on today. We'll just review a couple of things, some numbers and some coins, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and look at my 2 numbers up here. I have 69 and 42. I want to decide if they are even or odd. So look at 69, paying attention only to the back number. I have 69. Will that be even or odd? 69, even or odd?
Even.
Odd. 69 is odd. 9 is an odd number. The even numbers are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 9 is odd. Yes, 6 is even, but we only look at the back number, which is that 9, which is odd. Next, I have 42. Would that be even or odd? 42. Even or odd?
Even.
Even number. Yes, thank you. Even number. 2 is even. So that means I can split 42 in half equally. That's what even means. Remember, odd means I cannot split it in half. Even means that I can split it in half equally. I will have the same amount on both sides. All right, so in yesterday's video, we practiced counting by tens past 100. Were you able to review that so that you could see practice counting by tens past 100? So that's what we'll go ahead and do on today. So I told you, whenever you are counting by tens and you go past 100, you keep the pattern the same, except now you're saying 100 and 1 or 100 and it's the same thing. So you are still counting by tens. That pattern stays the exact same, except now you're in the hundreds. So let's start with 60 here. So we have 60, 70. Raise your hand. What number would come next after 70? 60, 70, Dennis?
80.
Thank you. 80. 60, 70, 80.
90.
Faith, 90. Good. So this is what this is what we're used to. 60, 70, 80, 90. Where am I going from here, Taylin?
100.
100. So now this is where we have to know what to do. We are still counting by tens, but now we are in the 100s. It stays the exact same. So we finished with 100. So who knows what will go here? After I say 100, what would I say here?
110.
110. Not 101. 110. And this is what 110 looks like. Whenever you're writing your hundreds, they always have a 1 in the front, and then your other 2 numbers are in the back. We know how to write 10 already, 10. So that's why it has the 1 and then the number 10. 110. Where am I going from 110? So I have 100, 110.
111.
Okay. Okay, Dennis, you're the only one raising your hand online. Thank you. After 110, where do I go from there?
120.
Good. Good. 120. After 120, where do I go from there? Oh, I should say, yeah. 130. Awesome. And so you would keep the pattern. 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200. I go to the next 100. So let's count by tens from 10 all the way to 130, since that's what we have on the board. So you ready on 3? 1, 2, 3. 60, 7. I'm sorry, start with 10. My bad. Start with 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. So that's still counting by tens, except we are now in the 100s. The pattern stays the exact same, except now we just have that 100 that comes before we say the tens pattern. Same thing would happen if we're in the 200s, 210, 220, 230, and so on. 500s, 510, 520. That pattern stays the exact same. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and practice counting by twos. So remember, if you know the 2, 4, 6, 8, 0 pattern, it's easy to continue counting. That's your pattern you follow. 2, 4, 6, 8, then the 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, then the next 10. So let's start with 2. Where am I going after 2? After 2, Taitlin? Counting by twos. 2. Counting by twos.
3.
Okay, no. Counting by twos.
4.
4. 2, 4. Okay. Dennis?
6.
6. 8 is done for us. 2, 4, 6, 8.
0.
Well, not 0.
No.
10. But there is a 0 in 10. Okay, the pattern starts all over again. After 10, I go to 12. After 12, what would I say after 12? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
14.
14, 16 is done for us. So I'm going to finish with what number? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. What's our last one? Okay.
18. 18.
Thank you, Faith. Okay, so let's go ahead and count by twos all the way to 18. So 2, 4, 6, 8,
10, 12, 14, 16, 18.
Yes, good. Awesome. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Remember, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. That's the pattern. Keep that pattern in mind. It makes it easier to count by twos, okay? It's just your 10 in the front is going to change. Whether it's in the 30s, it'll still be 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. Pattern stays the same, okay? Now, this is different. We're still counting by twos, but now we're doing it with the odd numbers. So the odd numbers are the exact same thing. There's a pattern that you follow. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That's the pattern that you follow when counting by twos with the odd numbers. Oh, let me fix it. It's a little bright. Okay, so I have 1, 3, 5. Where am I going from the 5? Kinley? 7. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now the pattern starts all over again. So from 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Where am I going from 11?
12.
12 is an even number, not an odd number. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. 13. Where am I going from 13? Avaya and Joshua, are you there today? Just Just making sure. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. What's our next number? Go ahead, Avaya. You can give me the next number. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Unmute. Thank you. 15. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Joshua, can you give me my last number?
17.
Thank you. I need you guys to participate, okay? Thank you. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. Let's go ahead and count by twos with the odd numbers. 1,
3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17.
thank you. Good. On the right, might be. How's the other piece of tape?
I was saying
Okay, awesome. All right, let's look at 49. I want to say the number that comes before and the number that comes after 49. So look at 49. What number would come before 49 when counting? What number would come right before? Avaya.
48.
48. What number would come after 49?
50.
50, yes. Okay, good. 27. What number would come before? Bye. What number would come before 27?
28.
Before. We're going back.
26.
26. What number would come after 27? 28. Awesome. Good. Okay. Oh, and I forgot the coins. All right, look at our coins up here. So we have 4 dimes and some pennies. Let's go ahead and count them. So you can count them to yourself. Don't say the answer out loud. Go ahead and count it to yourself first. Then we'll discuss it. Don't say it out loud.
Bless you. Mom?
Okay, anyone would like to count this for us? Okay, Joshua,
45 cents.
could you count it for us first?
10, 20, 30, 40,
10,
41,
20,
42,
30, 40, okay? So we have 40. What did I say?
41,
Thank
42,
you.
43, 44, 45, 46.
Okay, how much?
46 cents.
Thank you. Yes, 46 cents. Okay. All right. So that's it for math. I just wanted to review a couple of things. You'll see some of this on your work page today as well, along with your math facts. So I had said yesterday, we're getting out of our book soon. We do have a part 2, so make sure that you have part 2 of the book. We'll be finished with part 1 when we come back from break. And so we'll go immediately into part 2. So just make sure that you have our second part of our book. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's go into handwriting. Cursive letters. We are working on letter V. V as in van. Letter V on today. Okay, if you did the page already, great. You can just maybe practice on a loose leaf paper. It is going to be workbook page 38 behind letter J, which we learned on yesterday. Yeah, letter J on yesterday. The letter V. Page 38. It's okay if you did it already. You can work on it on loose leaf paper, just practicing a few of them. Thank you. I'm going to give you something else.
Oh, vase. Yeah, the vase.
V as in, well, vase, yeah. And van, like the car, is behind J. Well, if you did J yesterday, Just behind J.
You have to, this is V. You have to turn it around. Thanks, baby. Thanks, Cameron. That's how you say it. You said big sound. You said thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta write my name. I don't write my name either. Because your name is big. Oh, see, that's so cute. That's so small. You can barely see it. I can see it so good. Yeah, I can see it so good. It's not that small. It's really small. It is that. I accidentally wrote an and. It's not spelled. I'm not really sure. But I don't know. This is how they use my erasure. This is how you use my erasure. You know, if you play with some things, it's going to go out. Yes, it goes in there. And you use your eraser here.
Okay. I'm let me All right, letter V.
Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious.
What are the other pages that y'all have from this book? It should be in your folders. All right, so today we are practicing letter V. Okay, so I have it up here.
Oh, I know what page you're talking about.
Yeah, it should have been 3 of them on plants.
I don't have mine. Are you serious?
All right, so letter V. So letter V starts here on the red, and as you can see, it's a letter. It's a lowercase letter, so it stays underneath our middle line, but it also stays inside of our red line, okay? So we are not going outside of our lines whenever we are writing letter V, okay? So we will start on the red. We are going to, first thing we'll do is we'll curve up. Then we'll curve back down. Make sure we touch the red. Then we'll curve up again. And then we kick it out. Okay, so it's a little similar to U, except U comes back down. But whenever we do V, we'll curve up, out, and then we kick out. Our kick out is our connector. That connects us to all the other letters. Okay, so again, we'll curve up, down, up, kick it out. Letter V. Again, curve up, curve down. Make sure you're going all the way down, touching your right. Come back up again. Kick it out. Letter V. Okay, can we practice line 1, or can you practice 5 of them if you did line 1 already?
We can start this
Hmm? Yeah, that should have been the only one. Why you don't have one? Why? I think, huh?
Page is it?
Oh, you went on mute again.
She said we have to move. What page is
What page? 38. Page 38.
Very hard to find. Never mind.
You know what at all, Mina?
I
think that, yeah, I think that's when you were absent. We did that. Our sentences have been this kind of sentence. It's just now we have a name of that kind of sentence. We know the name of that sentence. So this type of sentence where we are basically giving information, or we're telling someone something, which is a basic sentence. Like if we would say, I went to the store on Sunday. These are called statement sentences, okay? So these are basic sentences that just tell you something and give you information, okay? So let me write that down. So a statement sentence will tell us something. So statement sentences tell us something and they give us information. So all of the sentences, like I said, we've been practicing so far have been statement sentences. So how we're just learning what to capitalize in sentences. That's what we've been learning. But we've never learned any other type of sentence but statement sentences. So they tell us something and they give us information, okay? So yesterday I just kind of introduced it and explained what a statement was. So a statement sentence will always answer the question of who the sentence is about and what is going on. Okay, and we've discussed that already. Every time we write a sentence, we have to answer those two questions. Who is in our sentence and what is going on? Anytime we're missing one of these, it is not a complete sentence. It will be what's called a phrase, okay? So whenever we talk about a phrase is a part of a sentence, okay? But it is not a complete sentence. A phrase is a part of a sentence. A phrase would be if I would say the red ball. That is not a sentence, right? The red ball isn't telling me anything. That could be the who, well, not the who, but what the sentence is about, or the subject as we call it, but I don't know what is going on. If I would say the red ball was in the street, now that's a complete sentence because I gave you the what the sentence is about, the red ball, and what is going on with the red ball. It's in the street. That's a complete sentence, or as we say, a statement sentence. But whenever a sentence only gives you one part, like I just said, the red ball, that is called a phrase. A phrase is a part of a sentence. Can you say that? Phrase. What is a phrase? A part of a sentence. A phrase is not a complete sentence. It's only a part. After you read a phrase, you'll be left saying, that doesn't make sense. That's what a phrase is. Only a part of a sentence. So if I would say kicked the can, is that a sentence? No. That's not a sentence, right? Kicked the can. That's not a statement. That's a phrase. Kick the can is not really explaining anything. How could I make this a complete sentence? What could I add to this to make it a complete sentence? I kicked the can. Now I have a who, I, and what did I do? Kick the can. What if I would say my sister? Is that a sentence? No, that would be a phrase. My sister, that's not really explaining anything. What could I add to this to make this a complete sentence? My sister what? Could I say? My sister. We have the who, Dennis. What can I say? My sister helped me. Helped or hugged? I'm sorry. Helped. Helped. My sister helped me. I now have made this into a complete sentence. I had the who, my sister, but I did not have a what she was doing. Helped me. Okay, so now this is a complete sentence. So anytime a sentence is not complete, it is called a phrase. A phrase is a part of a sentence. Now, whenever we give a complete sentence that answers the who and the what, we call that a statement sentence. It's telling us something and it's giving us information. A statement sentence. It's telling us something that's going on, or it's giving us information about something. That's the difference between a statement and a phrase. You want to make sure that when you write sentences that you are giving statements, complete sentences, answering the who and the what, and not giving a phrase where you're only giving a part. So do you have a loose-leaf paper ready? We'll go ahead and practice that today. And this is our language. This is not writing. We don't have writing tests this week. This is language. Okay, good. Okay, does everyone have a paper ready? Do I have another paper? What page is it? Another page. We're not in a book. You just need a loose leaf paper. We're not in any book right now. Oh, it's on my list. Say it again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. It's on my list.
I got my loose leaf paper.
Awesome, thank you. Everyone else has theirs?
Yes, ma'am.
Working on it? Yeah, I could print one. I have it.
He wanted a copy, but I laminated mine. So I can't copy.
Okay. It might not come out. Okay, Joshua and Avaya, are you ready? Yes, no, maybe so.
No.
No, not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you're ready, Avaya.
Okay.
Don't do that.
I'm not ready because I'm using the bathroom.
Okay, whenever you're done. Almost, Avaya, or still not yet?
Yep.
Okay, so we will practice the writing the difference between a statement and a phrase, okay? So let's put a number one. It'll be really simple when we're done. Okay, so on number one, I would like you to write a statement, a sentence that would tell us something or give us information about something. Go ahead on number one and write a statement.
Wait, what is a statement?
A statement is a sentence that tells us something and gives us information. So it's a basic sentence that gives us a who and a what.
So I should not quote from the statement.
You have to write your own statement sentence. It's a regular sentence. It's just called a statement sentence.
Okay.
So write any sentence about anything.
That makes sense.
It's just called a statement. I don't want you to get confused because I'm calling it a statement. It's just if I would tell you to write a sentence like we normally do, that's what you're doing.
Oh.
Except it's called a statement. Now I'll tell you statement sentences.
Miss Flugin,
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I read one sentence about who and what.
Okay, so okay.
Todd got a flower in a vase.
Okay, yeah, that was the ones you wrote from the V.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Joshua, Dennis, are you ready with your sentence or not yet?
I'm ready. So I have another paper.
Yeah, it was 4 of them. Okay, all right, let's hear it if you're ready. Faith, let me see. Good, my sister is 6. She gave us a who. Her sister, what about her? Is 6. That's a statement. She's telling us something about her sister and giving us information about her sister. Good. And Avai, what was yours again?
Mine was Todd got a flower in a vase.
Todd got a flower in a vase. Good.
For mom.
Okay, so
In a
Todd is
vase.
his person, and what about Todd? He got a flower in a vase for mom. So that is the statement. He's telling us something about Todd, and he gave us information about what he's doing. Anyone else is ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
I love God.
I love God. Good statement. Who? I. What about you? Love God. That's a statement. Anyone else before we move on to the next? Okay, Joshua. Oh, you're on mute?
I and my mom went to Disneyland.
I and my mom went to Disneyland, okay? So the who is him and his mom. What about them? They went to Disneyland. Statement. Okay? What you have?
My brother is 29.
My brother is 29. Who? Her brother. What about him? He is 29. Statement. Dennis?
I went to the park. I went to the park to play ball.
I went to the park to play ball. Good. Who? I. What did you do? Went to the park to play ball. Statement. Now let's do the opposite of a statement, which is a phrase. Is a phrase a sentence?
No.
It is not. It's only a part of a sentence. So whenever you write a phrase, you'll usually only have the who or the what. You will not have both. So try and practice, try a phrase. Think of something that you can write as a phrase. Remember, it is not a sentence. It will have only the who or only the what, not both. That's why it's called a phrase, because it only gives you one part. Okay. Cool. I thought you said you was done before that. I thought you said you was done before that. Oh, okay. No, I said, okay. I know.
I'm Brady. I'm the one that I like. Because you have a lot of questions, right? I like this. No, when you say I like that, like a lot. That's what my sister.
Okay, all right, guys.
But you're not saying this year. What is it? I'm guessing it's 20.
Hey, are we ready? Not yet? Not yet, okay.
I'm done.
All right, let's hear it. Avaya, let me hear your phrase.
Oh wait, wait.
Huh?
I already did mine. For the B.
Okay, but a phrase where it's only one part. It's not a complete sentence, it's only a part. Yeah? Not yet. Okay. Okay, I'll go to Dennis. Well, Dennis, are you ready? Yes. Okay, give me your phrase.
I jammed.
Huh?
I jammed.
I jammed.
Okay.
Okay.
jammed the wash machine.
Oh, jam. Okay, I jam. Good. That's only a part. He doesn't have a complete sentence. So how would you make it complete, Dennis? What would you say that would?
I jammed my robot.
I jammed my what?
Robot.
I jammed my robot. Okay, good. Okay, anybody else is ready? Give me a phrase.
I will go.
That's the whole sentence. Because you gave me a who, I, what about you, will go. So you only should have put will go, or you should have only put I. So try again. What you have?
Love God.
Love God. That's a phrase because we have a what? You love God, but we don't have a who. Who can be our who? I, or we could name a person. Good. Okay, what you have now?
Will go.
Will go. That's a what? Who will go? Like, yeah, who's the who? My sister will go. Okay, Avaya, go ahead.
It says now the sentence says Todd got a flower in a vase for mom.
Okay, but that's still a full sentence. Whenever we say a phrase, it's only going to be one part. So if you would just say Todd, that would be a phrase because that's only the who. We don't have the what he's doing. So whenever you're given a phrase, it's not a sentence. It's only one part. It's either going to tell us the who or it's going to tell us the what, but it's only one part. Okay?
Do you even know how hard it is
to do a phrase? A phrase is easier than a sentence.
This whole sentence, you do not. To do all these sentences,
I'm sure it's not easy, but okay. So what you want to do is when you do a phrase, you only pick one part. You don't have to do both parts. That's what makes a phrase a lot easier than a sentence because it's only one part. Okay, Faith, what you have?
Like to park.
Like to park? Okay, like to park. That's a what? How could I make it a complete sentence?
I like to park.
I like to park. Good. Okay. Like park the car. All right, Joshua, you have a phrase? You're on mute?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
I'm ready.
You ready now? Okay.
Look at the dog.
Huh?
Look at the dog.
Looked at the dog. Good. So that's a what? How could I make this a full sentence? Who? What can I use as the who? Or who can I put as the who looked at the dog?
Are you talking to me?
Yes. So you have a phrase and you said looked at the dog. That's the what part. So who is looking at the dog? What can you say for the who?
My cousin.
My cousin looked at the dog. Yes. Okay. So that's the difference between a statement and a phrase. A statement is a complete sentence. Everything. Who, what? A phrase is only one part. It'll either have the who or the what. It will not have both parts. If you have both parts, then that's a statement. It's not a phrase. So if I would say kick the ball, that's a phrase. If I would say the boy, that's a phrase. But if I say I went to the store with mom, that's a full sentence statement. So that is complete. That's not a phrase. Okay? All right, so we'll practice some more on tomorrow, practicing the difference between a statement and a phrase. We're practicing really this week statement sentences, which are basic sentences. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our science and social studies, and then we'll be done for the day. Let's start with our social studies. Did you read your science and social studies?
I know it's taking only for 48. What can I do?
Those pages, like everybody else. Social studies, page 49. We're going to continue our tour of America. Social studies, page 49.
Miss Prudence? Miss Prudence? There's me and mom like completed Niagara Falls and the Statue of Liberty, but we're all Washington DC, and there's a lot of them. There's like
A lot of what?
Washington DC, the Lincoln something.
Oh, the different memorials that are there. Yeah.
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 You see?
Yeah, all the different monuments. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. Yeah.
I didn't know.
You got to eat breakfast.
She ate a half a donut.
That's not enough nutrients.
Dad, we should go this week. Why couldn't you eat it in the car? Dad, take off the sweet stuff because he will not.
All right, so let's go ahead and go over. So I did last week, we weren't able to really like get on Zoom normally last week. And so I did want to show y'all like videos of Niagara Falls and pictures of Plymouth because, you know, we did talk about it, but I wanted to show y'all a little more of it. So that's what I'll do first. Yeah, that's what I'll do first before we get into our places we're visiting this week. Yeah, because I wanted to just show y'all some extra pictures that weren't in the book. Okay. Yeah. All right, 1 second. let's go ahead. So these are some pictures of Plymouth. Remember, we went to Plymouth last week. That's where the Pilgrims landed. Okay. So I'm gonna show you on the screen here. Here are some pictures of Plymouth. This was from last week, where we went last week. So this was the picture in the book, but this is just a bigger picture of it in Plymouth. Okay. Then this is another picture. This is a rock. Remember, there's 1620 on the rock. Remember? Yeah.
Wait, it's Miss Ludens.
Uh-huh.
Go back to the other one.
You know somebody in the picture?
No, but I wanted my mom to see it.
Okay.
That's where the Pilgrims landed. But that's not from the book.
Yeah, that's the same one. So this is the rock again. Remember 1620? So this is, remember we have Plymouth Plantation where you could see how life was like. So these are like this is how they dress. Now we don't dress like this today, but that's how they dressed during the time when the Pilgrims were here. I mean, yeah, when the Pilgrims existed, that colonies time in the 1700s, this is how they dress. So imagine this on a winter day, a summer day. It'll probably be kind of hot, right? Hey, look at all that. Okay. Yes. And so look, and that's different. And so this is the inside of one of the homes. Does anyone's home look like this? I'm sure not. It's a lot different.
Look, Mom.
I think that was a rock house.
A lot different than what we know of today. Yep. So that's how their homes looked at that time, though. Yeah. And so you can see that's kind of where they cook right here. Where the black pot is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, and that's like a garden they have because they grew their own crops. So this is an example of what the crops look like. What the gardens look like where they grew their crops. Okay. All right, so that's Plymouth Plantation. Oh, that's not where we were. All right, so next, let's look at some pictures from Niagara Falls, some better pictures of the falls.
Let's see some Niagara Falls.
So here's a picture. So you see there's a boat there. If you go and visit the Niagara Falls, you can actually take a boat to get close to it like that. So if you ever visit Niagara Falls, that's a real thing you can do. You can ride on that boat. No, I haven't seen Niagara Falls, but you can ride on that boat and you could get really close to the falls. So it's very beautiful, I'm sure, to see in person. Well, I don't think you want to go in the falls. Okay, so here's another picture of it. And look at this one. There's a rainbow and just a different picture. Remember, it's 190 feet high, so they fall down. Pretty.
I was just looking at that on the Niagara Falls page.
Okay, here's another picture. Look how they have it lit up on this picture. Really beautiful.
I want to go there.
Yeah, they have it lit up here. Okay.
I don't want to turn.
Another picture just of it as well. Now this is when it's cold. So it actually does freeze when it's cold. It actually freezes with ice and stuff. So this is just another beautiful picture of it. Oh, that's Plymouth. Okay, so I'll just show you a video as well of the falls and what it looks like how it's, we're not going to hear anything, but you'll see it. So here we go. So this is the falls. So look at that. Really beautiful.
I thought somebody jumped in there.
Look at that.
I jumped in there before.
It's really nice.
That blue water under there is not the same.
Well, when it's falling, it looks different. It's the reflection of the sun on the water. That's why it looks like that. So very beautiful.
Look at that. I was on
And this is a picture. See that boat? There's a boat going down there.
Wait a minute.
Beautiful. Look at that.
It's so, can you sit by the grass and watch it?
Oh yeah, I'm
Like
sure.
a picnic.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a nice place to go. But make sure the water don't like.
So that's beautiful. Look at the rainbow.
The rainbow. I want to see it. I saw it. It passed it. I want to see it on the rainbow.
Okay. So yeah, so that's another look at this view of the falls. And look, you can do that.
They skydiving.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So yep. So that's a video of the falls and what, what it looks like if you are there up close in person. So if you ever visit the falls, that's what you'll see. All right, so let's go ahead and look at 49 and let's go over our lesson for today. Our places. Sure. The places that we are visiting on today.
Today.
I'll do it just so that we can.
I read yesterday. Me too.
All right. So we were in New York. That was the last place we visited whenever we stopped our lesson last week. So this week we're moving on to a new state. And we are going to Maryland. I'm going to show you where Maryland is on a map that you can see on the map.
It's a little fatty.
A little what?
So small.
What's that mean?
A dot.
Oh, okay. All right. So here we go. This is a map of the U.S. and Maryland. So we were in New York right here. Well, we started in Massachusetts with Plymouth. Then we went to New York, and now we are here down here in Maryland. So this is Maryland right here.
Can't really see.
Yeah, it's not big. On a map, it's not big, but that's Maryland. So we are actually going in what's called Baltimore, Maryland. Has anyone heard of Baltimore before?
No, ma'am.
Baltimore, Maryland? No? Okay, well, that's where we're visiting, Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. I've been there, but I haven't toured the city. I just flew into Baltimore.
How many days did you say?
No.
I didn't do it.
All right. Okay, Baltimore. So we are going to visit what's called Fort McHenry in Baltimore, Maryland. So Fort McHenry is really famous because whenever there was a war in 1812, whenever the Americans and the colonies fought against England, they had a big war with one another. You'll learn a lot about that war in second grade, but they had a big war with one another, and it was because America really wanted to become free. Well, that was the second war they fought. They actually had fought 1 year before. They fought their first war, and then they fought another war, which is the War of 1812. So they fought again. It was a colonies, America against the British and England. They were fighting one another. And one of the places where they fought was Fort McHenry. Now, whenever there was a war going on, usually they would try to take over the strongest parts of a country. Fort McHenry was one of the strongest military forts at that time. So when the English were fighting against America, they wanted to take control over Fort McHenry because that would have meant something good for the English, right? That means they kind of basically would have won the war against America. So they went to battle at Fort McHenry. Now, Fort McHenry, as you can see, what's unique about it is it's shaped like a star. Do you see that on the picture? How it's shaped and everything? It's shaped like a star. So not only is it shaped like a star, but there was something that happened at Fort McHenry. So there was a man named Francis Scott Key. He was kidnapped by someone. Well, technically he went to rescue someone else, but he had to stay on the ship with the British soldiers. So there was a ship that was on the water. So you see how there's the water on the picture? There was a ship that was parked there on the water, and Francis Scott Key was on the ship while the battle was happening. The British soldiers kept Francis Scott Key on the boat so that he wouldn't get off the boat and tell the American soldiers what was going on in the British ship. So they kept him on the ship. Francis Scott Key, though, so he had to watch the battle go on from the ship. So he was on his ship and on the British ship in the water while the battle was going on at Fort McHenry. Y'all kind of see what I mean by looking at the picture? So you have the water where he was in the ship, and then this is Fort McHenry. So he watched the battle go on. And while he was watching the battle, he was inspired to write a song. This song is called the Star Spangled Banner. Now, we call it the Star Spangled Banner, but that's because Fort McHenry is shaped like a star. Usually you'll hear this song before NFL game. Have you ever watched football or NBA, basketball, baseball or something? They usually sing a song before the game starts. The song that they sing is called the Star Spangled Banner, or we say the national anthem. That's America's song. So Francis Scott Key, that song that they still sing today, was written by Francis Scott Key at this time. He was watching the battle go on, and if you look in the center of the book, you see there's a flagpole up in there. Usually whenever there was a battle, America's flag would stay up. When another country won the battle, they would remove the other country's flag and put their own flag. So he watched the battle go on, and his biggest thing was making sure that America's flag was still in the air. As long as America's flag was still in the air, that meant that America was not losing the battle and that Fort McHenry still belonged to America. It was not taken over by the English, by the British. So he watched as they were shooting the rockets, they were fighting with one another. He watched all of that go on through the night, and it inspired him to write what's called the Star Spangled Banner. So the next morning, whenever Francis Scott Key, whenever the battle was over in the morning, he saw that the flag was still there. So that meant good thing. That was a good thing for America. He was overjoyed to see that the flag was still there. And there's actually a line in the song Star Spangled Banner where he says that our flag was still there. So go to page 67. That's the song on 67. Go ahead to 67 and we'll look at the song that he wrote, the Star Spangled Banner. Yep, 67.
I found 67.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work. Like, it looks like this.
Yes. Okay, so this is the Star Spangled Banner song. So as you can see, and look, it says by Francis Scott Key. That's who wrote it. So it's like, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held? I don't sing, so I'm just going to read it. What so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, or the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare. See, he's writing about what he saw during the battle. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in the air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? And that's the song. It's more to it, but that's a song usually when you hear someone sing. Can I sing it? Oh, girl, no, I don't sing. Yes, so yes, usually you'll hear someone singing it more than how I read it. So that's the Star Spangled Banner. Tomorrow's Zoom, we'll probably listen to it, okay? All right, so that's Francis Scott Key, and that's why Fort McHenry is special, because that's where the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, was written. So let me go ahead and show you some more pictures of Fort McHenry. Just a few more pictures, just so you can kind of see it up close.
That was a long time ago.
Huh?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
In
It was.
1591.
1591. All right, so let's look at a few pictures. So here's just a closer picture of it. So as you can see, look at how it's shaped like a star. Fort McHenry is shaped like a star. You can see the points of the star. Okay, and here's another picture. So this is like an entrance to Fort McHenry.
I saw somebody
Another
singing.
picture, look at this, it's closer. So this is like the inside of that star. And look, the flag. So that's what Francis Scott Key saw, was that flag that was still up in the air.
Oh, they have a picture.
These are the bombs that they were, fighting with. They had cannons. So yeah, so the weapons are totally different from then to now. The weapons are different, but that's those cannons that they were shooting.
New York City.
Yeah.
Is that Ryzen Evans?
Yeah. Okay, this is another side of it. Not that. Okay. So that is Fort McHenry in Baltimore, Maryland. So let's keep moving, turn the page. Next, we are going to go to what's called the nation's capital, which is Washington, D.C. Now, Washington, D.C. is not a state. It's not a, like it has its own state or anything. It's actually the nation's capital city. So it's in between Maryland and Virginia. They call that area the DMV area because it's the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And so DC, it's not its own place, okay? Like, just keep that in mind. So I'm zooming in here. Can y'all kind of see where I am? This is DC right here. It's very small. It's really hard to see, but it's right here. So this is Maryland, the orange. That's Virginia, the yellow. And DC's right here.
Oh my gosh, I see it
Okay.
a little bit.
Yeah, really small. So it's not a big area at all. No. It's all three, Evan. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. So Washington, D.C. is sort of unique because there's a lot of memorials and monuments that you can find there. Okay. So let's talk about the first one, which is called the Lincoln Memorial. So obviously, when we say Lincoln Memorial, this memorial is dedicated to Abraham Lincoln. Remember, we learned about Abraham Lincoln a couple of weeks ago about when he was the 16th president and all of that was going on. And unfortunately, he was shot, he was assassinated. And so there's a memorial dedicated to Abraham Lincoln. And so you can see the picture here. I'll show you a couple of more pictures of what it looks like as well. Yes, I've seen this. It's really cool. All right, so here's a picture of the Lincoln Memorial. So this is a further away picture. It's further away where you could see exactly how it looks. Okay, so this is it, and there's some steps you climb to get inside the Lincoln Memorial. So when you go inside, you'll see Abraham Lincoln sitting like this on a chair. That's what it looks like. So you can kind of see it lit up in the book, but this is a closer picture of what it looks like. This is him sitting down.
Kind of look creepy a little bit.
So this is him. That's what he looked like. And so this is the outside of it. So like I said, there's those steps. It's a snowy day there, but these are the steps. And so when you go inside of it to the right here, there's actually words written on the wall, like some of his speeches that he gave, you know, things like that, the Emancipation Proclamation. The words are actually written on the walls. I had a video of it, but I don't know where it's at. Yes. Okay. All right. So after we visit the Lincoln Memorial, let's go to the next one, which is in the blue. It's the Washington Monument. This is dedicated to George Washington, the first president. Not only that, but the city of DC is named after George Washington. So it's just this really tall monument. So actually, right when you walk out of the Lincoln Memorial, so let me go back to the Lincoln Memorial. So see, if I'm walking out of the Lincoln Memorial, when you look straight ahead, the Washington Monument is right there. Like, so this is, so pretend, so if you're standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, this is what you'll see when you're looking out. You'll see the Washington Monument. So there's a big little, this kind of river water thing here, right in front of it.
My sister said right there.
You can walk past it. And so this is it up close. And there's actually a little area where you can sit down in front of it as well. So this is the Washington Monument, very tall. Okay. Next, we'll visit the White House. So another cool thing about DC is that's where the president lives. No matter who is the president, that is where they live. George Washington is actually the only president who has not lived in the White House, but all the other presidents have. And so this is a close picture of the White House.
And Donald Trump lives.
Well, he's not the president anymore, but this is another picture of it. Okay, this is a picture of the inside.
It's so fancy.
This is one of the rooms in the White House.
Fancy.
Uh-huh.
It tells you the date.
So you can actually take a tour of it. If you ever visit DC, you can schedule a tour to visit the White House. And you can walk inside. Now you can't go through the whole thing, but you can go through some parts. Okay, this is the Oval Office. This is the office where the president is when he has meetings, when he works at his desk, all of those things. He works in what's called the Oval Office. And so that's a picture here.
That president.
Okay, so a couple of things that I wanted to discuss that aren't in the book that we can find in DC. One of those things is the world's largest library. We can visit the world's largest library in DC. It's called the Library of Congress. Look at this huge library. Do y'all have libraries like that in your town, in your cities?
No.
Maybe not that big. They might be big, but this is the world's largest library. And that's the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. So here's a picture of the main reading room. So this is where people go to sit down and study, to read. This is the main reading room.
Do they have kids' books?
I'm sure. Okay, here's another picture of the inside. This is actually when you walk in, this is what it looks like. Okay, so that is huge, really big. Okay, next we'll visit what's called the Capitol. This is a picture of it. This is actually like the picture in your book too. The Capitol is where they make laws. The Capitol. This is what it looks like on the outside.
And put on a seatbelt.
Uh-huh.
That's where they tell us a law to put on a
So this is the inside of the Capitol. See here, the inside of the Capitol, what it looks like on the inside. Another picture of the inside. So this is where like senators meet when they're making their laws. This is where they come, in here. All right. So the Capitol. So those are different places we can see in DC. We also can see the Supreme Court, which is one of the highest courts in America. The Supreme Court is also in Washington, D.C. as well. So these are all the cool places that we could visit if we visit Washington, D.C. You could visit the Lincoln Memorial, Washington Monument, the White House, the Capitol, the Library of Congress, the largest library. You could possibly see the president in Washington, D.C. as well. So these are all the different places and different things we can see in D.C. So those are the two places we're visiting this week: Fort McHenry in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, and Washington, D.C., which is the nation's capital city. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our science, and then we'll be done.
My books are super wet. Now, whenever we get off of Zoom, we're gonna have to clean this table for certain. After we get off of Zoom, we have to clean this table for certain.
Okay. All right, so we are moving on to our next chapter in science, which is about animals. So last week, I'm on page 48 as well in science, page 48. Last week, we discussed animal instincts, meaning the things that animals do without anyone teaching them. It's the instincts that God gave them, and how God made animals after their own kind. Meaning, if you're a dog, you will only have puppies. If you're a lion, you will not be able to have a deer. It's not possible, right?
No.
So this week, we're going to focus on animal babies, which are the babies that are born from their moms. Okay? So this week in particular, we're focusing on baby animals that are born from their mom's stomach, meaning their mom carries them inside of her stomach. Okay? So I'm on page 48. Some baby animals are born, meaning they were in their mom's stomach and she gave birth to them. All the animals that are born from their mom's stomach, they need her to survive. If they do not have their mom, they will not survive. One of the most important things they get from their mom is milk. The milk that they need to survive, the milk that they need to drink. They can't eat, so they can't like chew food or anything. So they need milk. Just like when you were a baby, you only drank milk for some time and you drank milk from your mom. So whenever babies are born, meaning they're from their mom's stomach, they will drink milk from their mom. So whenever baby animals are born, they usually cannot see and they cannot walk. So do they need their mom?
Yes.
They need their mom to survive so that they're able to get around. They can't see where they're going and they can't even move on their own. So the mom will usually pick them up with her mouth to move them around. So baby bears, for example, now when we see bears, we see the huge bear, right? But when they're born, they're not that big. They're not much bigger than a kitten. So I'm gonna say this is about this big when baby bears are born. They're not big at all. So they really need their mom because they can't fight anyone off from themselves. They can't. But usually when baby bears are born, the mom will keep them in the cave for a little while before she takes them out of the cave. They're usually born in the winter time as well. So usually you won't see them until the spring. So baby bears, when they're born, they come out. They can't see, they can't walk, so they need their mom. She will protect them and keep them safe. That's why you'll hear someone say, "Don't mess with a bear's cubs," because she will get you if you touch her cubs. So yes, their mom, they have to stay close to their mom so that they are safe and she will protect her babies. Okay, they drink milk from their mom. She has to move them around. She'll move them around. They depend on her. So on page 49, a mother mouse can have like 12 babies at one time. Now, mice aren't big animals when they're full grown. So imagine how small their babies are. Their babies are the size of a jelly bean when they're born. So they need their mom. Definitely need their mom, right? Not only are they super small, but they're blind and they can't walk. So they need her to survive. A baby bat. Usually when they're born, they'll hold on to their mother's wings. They'll hold on to their mother's wings so that when she flies, she'll show them where to go. So that they hold on to their mom's wings whenever she flies. Whenever they're old enough to start to stay on their own, she'll hang them up in the cave upside down and they'll wait for her to come back with food. So you see, they can't even find their own food yet. They need their mom to get their food. So baby animals that are born really need their moms, not only for food, but for protection as well, so that she protects them from any danger. A whale, now even though a baby whale is huge when they're born, they still need their mom too. So just like as a baby, you need your mom, still now you need your mom for some things, right? Baby animals are the same way. They need their moms so that they could stay safe and so that they have food. Okay, so that's really it in science this week. Next week, we'll get into 2 baby animals that are unique because their moms have what's called a pouch that she keeps them inside of. And so we'll get into that when we come back from Thanksgiving break. The baby animals that live in a pouch. So they have it a little different than the other baby animals because baby animals that are born, usually they have to, they're outside of their mom, she doesn't have a pouch. And so they drink milk and stuff from her. But we'll get into the animals that have pouches and they keep their babies safe in there, okay? So that's really it for science this week. It wasn't anything too extreme. The test will be pretty simple on this week, okay? All right, so that's all our lessons today. We don't have a writing test. We don't have reading this week. Remember, we finished our book last week, so we'll start our new book, Stepping Stones, when we get back from Thanksgiving, okay? All right, so that is it for us on today.